Hi, this is Rick Dagley, Senior Editor at IT Pro Today. We're here live at Data Center World in Washington, D.C., and with me is Bill Morelli, Chief Research Officer at Omdia. Thanks for being here, Bill.
Hi, Rick. Great to be here. Very excited to talk to you today.
Now, I know you're no stranger to DCW. What is different this time, and is there any hot items that you've seen that you weren't expecting?
So thanks for the question. Very excited to be here at the show. It is my fourth time here, and one being in Washington, D.C. itself, new convention center, great location, very excited about that. But I'd say in terms of the show and the topics, big focus obviously is generative AI, and more specifically the impacts generative AI is having on data centers. This show, as you know, we've got a strong focus on operational side of data centers, and that's been a big focus for the Omdia research teams, kind of the power and the cooling and the facilities, and how do you manage this incredible ramp in computing power that we're seeing in the data center, and how does the industry respond to that? And are we responding quickly enough? I think have been some of the real key points coming out of the keynotes that we've been hearing and some of the big topic of discussion in the sessions.
Now, we know that data centers, mostly due to AI, is really taken off. But what obstacles are you seeing that could hold it back and that we need to work on?
Well, I think what we've seen is the compute power required for generative AI is significantly more than what we've been seeing in the last few years in terms of kind of AI, in terms of training models, machine learning. So even though we've been seeing an increased level of sophistication in compute around AI, really last year with the introduction of generative AI, significant step change increase in terms of computing power, which has driven more density in the racks, which has driven more heat requirements, which has driven more power requirements, at a time when a lot of data center facilities are looking at, they're in a area of the country or the globe where there may be more power constraints. So they're having to really start looking at more creative solutions. And I think the changes happen so rapidly, the adoptions happen so rapidly, that the physical infrastructure side of the data center industry is still working to respond. I don't think we've seen quite this level of sea change in a number of years. And so having to pivot quickly to how do we rapidly improve cooling? How do we rapidly improve kind of access to power and optimize our racks and our kind of data center layout is a very pressing conversation.
And with all these changes, obviously we need more workers, and we already have a shortage in data center workers. How do you think we can mitigate that issue?
It's an excellent question, and it's really, I think, a part that gets lost sometimes in the conversation because you start talking about generative AI, and of course there's programming and developers, and they're a key part of that conversation. There's all of the applications that come out of it, but the reality is all of this is running in the cloud, which means it's running in a data center somewhere, and those data centers need to be staffed and manned and operated. We've been fortunate. I think one of the reasons that the industry has been able to respond as well as it has in the last 12 to 18 months has been because we've got an incredible set of senior experienced data center professionals who are operating those facilities, who've really taken those years of experience and translated it in. But it's not an industry that's attracting a lot of new talent. It's not in the spotlight in the way a developer role is. And I think that's something we need to continue to shift the conversation about. One of the groups here at Data Center World is AFCOM, which is a Data Center Professional Association. They've got a strong focus on kind of helping to attract and bring in that next generation of talent that will help operate, maintain, build, and design data centers. And it's a really critical need for the industry.
Now, you mentioned that it's not a glamorous job. What people are seeing from the outside, they're not saying, "Oh, I want to get into data center." You have a data center career. Is there a way we can change? Is that being changed, like through education or?
It's a good question, Rick. I think yes is the short answer, and it really does need to be a shift in thinking because the way we operate and manage and build and design data centers is changing.
Right.
It's not what it was 10 years ago. It's not even what it was 5 years ago. And now we're looking at advanced tools to help dynamically monitor heating and cooling in the data center and to be able to reconfigure data center power resources on the fly. You're working with a much more sophisticated set of tools. So, if you were to think of it as kind of working at, I don't think of a good analogy, but if you think about working at kind of your local racetrack, in your local community, there's a certain level of mechanic that operates there, and they are very functional and good at their job. Where we're seeing data centers go is kind of taking it from that level to now being an F1 level. Now we're using computer design and diagnostics. Now we're responding to situations in real time and dynamically managing what's happening in the data center. That's a level of sophistication that's happening with the software and tools in terms of data center operations and management. I don't think we've elevated that enough in the conversation and put enough of a spotlight on that.
No, I agree, and I think the work in the data center field is you really don't have to worry about layoffs. It's job security. So I'm foreseeing more and more people jumping in as obviously the word has to get out, and they're just not teaching it early enough. The young men and women really don't understand all that goes into a data center and the different types of jobs.
No, and we have seen a number of industry organizations that have put more of a focus on trying to attract students in as early as high school, and really have them start thinking about data center as a career. There's a program that's been running at Data Center World for the last couple of years called Power Up, where we bring in high school students. They spend the afternoon with a number of data center professionals who really talk to them about, what today's data center looks like and what the opportunities are like there. So I think that is absolutely one solution. I think the other one's just the way the industry is having to evolve to adapt to this shifting landscape, this rapidly evolving landscape and the growing power needs. I was having a conversation with Bill Clayman earlier today, who's our host for the event, one of our speakers. And we were talking about all of the new locations where previously you wouldn't have heard about data centers being designed and built, that now we're pushing into kind of other new states, new territories, new regions in the U.S. and globally that I think will hope, one, expose us to new talent, new pools of talent, but also create opportunities and job opportunities in those communities and neighborhoods. So there's really an opportunity for the data center industry to really kind of be a force for growth and change in some of those areas.
Well, I'm interested to see where this discussion goes next year, if we're still talking about the real need for workers or not. I think all the work being done this year and the future, I'm hopeful that it's going to make a difference.
I think it will, and I think it is. There's more awareness now. Everything on your smartphone is running in a data center. You know what I mean? It's we just need to help make that connection for people so they really see it as the fundamental part of the tech industry that it is. But we'll still be, I'm sure next year we'll still be talking about more advanced cooling technologies, more advanced power technologies, how to keep pace with the rate of innovation.
Well, unfortunately we're out of time, but I really want to thank you, Bill, for joining us at the Data Center Knowledge News Desk, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Excellent. Thanks for having me, Rick.
And thank you.